want to hear the stories about New York.
No.
I don't even like repeating the ones that happen in New York.
Oh wow.
There's some. We I used to live in upstate New York, and on a field trip, we went to one of the I guess you would say battlefields for the Civil War. They still have like some of the cannons and stuff like that. And as we were leaving, because we walked around, seeing everything, and as we were leaving, one of the cannons went off.
Oh my gosh.
All by itself. It hasn't been loaded in like hundreds of years or anything like that. And it just went off by itself and hit the school bus.
Oh my gosh.
So we had to wait, for another school bus to show up because it went right through the middle of the school bus, right where the teacher would have sat if we got on the bus when we did.
Do you have any idea what like battle or time or whatever that might have been used?
It was during the Civil War.
Civil War. Okay.
There's a plaque. As soon as you get there at the battlefield, it tells you this happened on this day during the Civil War. Da da da.
Wow.
And it was crazy.
That would be terrifying.
I was 6 years old, and when I seen that, and I was like, okay, I'm never getting on a bus again. I don't like buses. And the teacher was all trying to calm us all down. Oh, it's okay. It was just a misfire. It has been loaded in hundreds of years. So why would it be a misfire?
Yeah.
Like, we looked, all the students looked in there. There was nothing in there. No cannonballs, no powder, nothing. And it just went off.
Yeah, there's no way even like in a museum or even a reenactor would make extra sure if they were going to do a demonstration, they sure wouldn't do it towards a school bus, you know, with kids. Yeah.
And I'm like, how is that even possible?
Yeah.
And it was
and
weird.
like everyone, I mean, just to clear things, like everybody saw it, right? Like everybody, yeah. And it was a hole through the school bus.
Yeah.
I'll ask you, was there a, do you remember like maybe the time? Do you think it might have been around the anniversary of the battle maybe? Or
it was, I want to say it was September, around September, August, September when it happened.
Kind of early in the school year.
Yeah.
I guess nice enough up there to be outside on a field trip.
Yeah, before winter hit.
Yeah. Wow.
That was crazy.
That's interesting. Is there any other?
Where I used to live, one of the places, we were out in the country, and there was a whole bunch of like woods back there, and it'd be a mile long of woods, and on the other side was a cornfield. And me and my best friend Lori, we used to go through the woods, see what we can find and stuff like that. And we came to the spot. It was like a little pond type area, and there was a car that was halfway in the pond, halfway out, and like you could see like through the water, you could see in the driver's seat that there was a skeleton there.
Wow.
In the driver's seat. And I remember we ran all the way back to my house after that, and I was trying to tell my mom what happened, and she didn't believe me. And then a couple nights later, like my bedroom was towards the back of the trailer, and there was the sliding doors next to the dining room, and we had a patio and stuff like that. And I remember my cat woke up, meowing, and she woke me up, and I looked, and I seen a shadow through the window, because it was, the windows were open and everything, and I seen a shadow standing there next to the door, and I could see it was like a long, shadowy figure. And like I went to go look, and there was nothing there. And I went and woke my mom up, and I told her what happened, and she said, just go back to bed. You're dreaming or something. And I was like, okay, well, I'm 6, 7 years old at the time, and I see this, and I'm just, I didn't go back to bed that night. And after that, it never happened again.
So I've got to ask the shadowy figure. Well, I guess my first question would be, do you remember if it was like a skeleton shape?
No, it was an actual like shadow of a human person, but it was, instead of being like, you know how whenever you stand up and your shadow is a certain amount of length,
Mm-hmm.
this went from the sliding glass door to the back of the couch that was on the other side of the trailer, the double wide.
Mm-hmm.
And like the front door and everything, and then we had the couches a certain way, and it went from the door to the back of the couch.
So really,
a good 20 feet.
So that was the shadow of something that was standing there.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have had to been pretty tall to cast that shadow, and that was because I kind of asked because I've heard a lot of stories of, especially if you read up a lot on like Bigfoot or Dogman or things like that,
Mm-hmm.
that if you go out into the wilderness or any kind of area that's not normally inhabited,
Mm-hmm.
they can like pick up on your scent and follow you back home.
Yeah.
And it's just something that is just kind of to be aware, especially I like to tell people that, if they have any other like paranormal experiences, because you know how if you have one set of experiences, usually you have more.
Mm-hmm.
And so
your mom's property out in the country, you always kept saying you would see someone in the backyard, and she would run all the way downstairs to the backyard and no one was there ever.
Was this the woods, was that also in upstate New York?
Whenever I was 6 or 7, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Okay.
upstate New York. It was between Rochester and Syracuse.
Okay. And then so what, the backyard, you said you saw a person, was that in the same location?
No,
also?
that was down in outside of Whitney, Texas.
Oh, okay, that was in a different location. Okay.
But it was like in the middle of nowhere, farm, back road type situation.
Yeah, I'd be out on the balcony smoking a cigarette, and I could have sworn at nighttime I seen someone walking through the property, and I, throw on my shoes, run down there. I had my BB gun and everything, because we had chickens and stuff, so I was trying to, make sure nothing happened to them. Get out there, there's no one there, there's no footprints or anything, because it was muddy out there.
Mm-hmm.
There was no footprints but mine.
Hmm.
Like, we physically seen this. Someone was out there.
And did you have chickens go missing or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, might as well, vegetables or I don't know, some people, okay.
Well, because we had goats out there and a donkey and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
That usually, I wouldn't say they protect the chickens, but anything big that would get near them, they wouldn't really get to them.
Yeah.
Well,
and
my dad's dog Jada would protect the chickens, from skunks and stuff like that. Because that's what,
Oh, the dogs. Okay, yeah, the dog named
Yeah.
Jada.
That's what she does.
Did she ever bark at any of the figures you saw or anything?
No, she was asleep in the front yard. Just asleep with her brother. And I run down there and she'd poke her head up and look at me and just go back to sleep. And I run out there. I had my BB gun and everything. And I was ready to shoot someone because I didn't know if someone was on her property trying to do something that they weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
But there was no one there.
And you just saw, did you ever see more than one figure or just the one?
Just the one.
But maybe, was it just the one time or did you see it several times?
It was several times.
Do you have any, I mean, that's probably asking maybe a lot because it's been a long time, but do you remember, was it like maybe a tall figure?
He was about my height,
About-
about 5'6".
So I know you say he, so it was like a male type of
It was
outline?
a male figure, yeah.
Huh.
It was crazy. And the first time she didn't believe me.
Yeah.
And then she was out there with me a couple nights ago, and we were both smoking a cigarette on the balcony. I said, "Look, there it is," and it just took off.
It took off, and that was down there in Whitney. You said near Whitney, Texas.
Yeah, near Whitney, Texas.
Okay. Huh. I gotta ask? Do you ever, maybe any of your neighbors or any other people you know down there? Have you asked if anybody else has seen anything like that?
No,
This is the type of property that there should have been no reason
for
anybody
any
would have.
neighbors or anything like that to be on there.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, anybody else in the area have they seen figures on their property?
Mm-mm.
Maybe nearby, like a neighbor would see the same
No,
guy running.
Ellie, who lived across the field, we could see from her window to our dirt road. Remember, they said they seen someone over there, and then Mom went over there, and no one was there.
Yeah, me and Mom, we were having dinner at one of my mom and dad's friends, and they had a big window by their dining room table, and we just got done eating and everything, and I looked, and I seen someone walking on our property, because you can see our property from there, and I was like, "Mom, someone's on our property." Me and her and my dad jumped in the car real quick, went over there, and there was no one there by the time we got there.
And that was, wow.
And we aren't the only ones who've seen it this time. Everyone at that dinner table seen someone on the property.
Is this, I'm not familiar with Whitney. Is there a really thick woods? Is it just here
No,
and there?
it's mostly mesquite down there. That's
Okay.
all it really is.
Huh.
But it's down by Waco and Hillsboro and stuff like that.
What do you know what time of year kind of?
It was summertime.
Yep.
Around
Summer.
summertime.
And I ask that because sometimes, especially if you look into some of the, like, I don't know if you've heard of the missing 411 phenomenon or anything like that. Sometimes people go missing in national parks and state parks or big wilderness areas, and there's some very strange things that are almost like too coincidental around the disappearances. And some of the common threads are strange, like running water, creek streams, things like that, granite rock formations, and another one is berries. And berries are only ripe during some times of the year. So if it would have to do with, I'm just throwing this out there, okay, like, maybe a Bigfoot or something causing havoc, or it might be looking for food in at that time of the year. So that's why I always ask.
That little pond right there on the other side of the property. And we lived maybe it was down the street from the Aquilla Lake.
Aquilla Lake.
We would literally drive the car around the corner and go swimming there.
Well, it wasn't like around the corner. You had to go some windy roads and off that way.
Maybe
but
a few miles.
We didn't live too far from Aquilla Lake, part of it. And
I guess that could make sense.
I mean, it's free water source.
Here, and then about maybe 50 feet from the side of the house was a small pond type thing that belonged to one of the neighbors that lived behind us.
Yeah, and so I mean, a pond, it maybe a pond itself doesn't have the freshest water to drink, but it might have little fish in it. It might have root vegetables growing nearby, or berry bushes or something that would feed off of it, so it would attract, at the very least, wildlife like foxes, raccoons, but then it might attract something bigger too.
It definitely has fish. We used to go jump off the dock, and if you look under the dock, there'd sometimes be a couple dead fish under there. So
yeah. So just something to kind of be aware of. And I kind of tell people, if you're used to growing up in like a city or like an urban environment, you kind of think differently than if you grow up in the country,
Yeah.
And so a lot of times people don't think one way or the other. City people might not think, oh, well, that's when the corn is ripe, and then and so stuff like that. But I've heard stories of things like that even coming into town. I've even had issues here, and I'll tell you all about that. But it's just something to kind of be aware of. If anybody ever tells you about that, maybe ask them.
It's funny she says something about the food, because we used to, for the goats and the pig that was out there, we used to give the scraps to them, like the lettuce from dinner, or the tomatoes, or leftover food. We'd just throw it in the backyard in their dish. So I don't know, maybe something was attracting to the food we were giving them.
Yeah, free food. It happens. People have barbecues. I'm going to go ahead and stop this. If anybody else were to tell you that they had any similar experiences, is there anything you'd tell or offer them or anything?
I really didn't know what to tell them, because I didn't believe it myself at first.
Yeah.
Like, with all the stories that I told you, I still, to this day, don't know how it was possible for any of that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because, I mean, I believe in, like, the reincarnation and afterlife and stuff like that, And I'm just like, I don't know how to process it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. Fair enough. I agree. I understand. All right. Well, thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.